plus the coaches on a weekly basis, sometimes bi-weekly basis, that is hard to do. And at no point were these young men ever hungry. At no point, actually they'd be almost too full a lot of the times. You guys took care of them. I just want to say, first of all, to all of you parents that helped provide for these young men this season, and that is all of you. Virtually every single one of you has provided for these young men. Young men, I hope you guys thank your parents and your loved ones for all that they did. Give them a round of applause, please. There are a few special thank yous that I want to go through, and I'm going to tell those to you right now. First, Terry Hickson, the gentleman who made all this happen as far as food. This is the reason why you had to readjust your belt buckle. Give that man a round of applause. These are in no particular order. We kind of started with summer type stuff and then went down through, so just bear with me here. First, I want to thank Sim White. Sim White did a whole lot of stuff for us. When it came to the summer, I asked him, hey, I have the wrong ball on my truck, and he stopped everything he's doing. And he's a farmer, mind you. He stopped what he was doing that day, wasted his entire day to get equipment to the Missouri Western camp to get us to make sure that we're doing okay. So first, I want to thank you for that. Every single away game, this guy would haul that bus. That includes Columbia as well, so he wasted at least 2 days there hauling all of our equipment. He provided us with a location for fishing. He got us, what was his name again? I forgot.
Preston Owens.
Preston Owens. So he really hooked us up with that awesome lake. If you came and picked up your son and saw that amazing lake on the way to Plattsburgh, you got that taken care of for us. And thank you to Mr. Owens as well. So give Sim White a round of applause. Then we have Loren Parker. This guy cleaned fish for me whenever I didn't have a proper fishing knife that night. That tells you where we're at. Yes, talk about cleaning fish I should have not said that. Anyway, he provided tools for us. He made sure that we were all set for all our summer projects, so thank you to him. If we clap for every single one, this might take a while. I'm going to go through these and we'll kind of save our applause for the end. I just want to save you guys some time here. Dylan and Bryce, Dylan Pasley, Bryson Burns, they took care of our practice field and our game field. I had a very odd way of mowing this field so we could see the lines without painting the grass. So those guys did that for us. Every time you see those guys in the hallway, you thank them for all that they did. They wasted a lot of time for us. The statisticians. We have Mitri Bull and Ryan Harper. Those two gentlemen, if you see them around about, thank you so much. They did 15 games of stats so that us coaches wouldn't have to mess with stats, rather we could coach football. So that was a huge deal for us there. When it comes to all of the garb that we've been wearing all year, I want to start with Firehouse Designs. Miss Turner, I saw you in here somewhere. She did a whole lot of stuff setting up a preseason store so that we could look really good on the field. I didn't really have set things for us to wear this year, but everybody kind of dove in on that, and we all had, you know, similar shorts and shirts, and we looked really good, especially when we went, 7-on-7 and summer stuff. Then we have Bulldog Land. Betsy and Rachel, they hooked us up with patches, championship shirts. They got those done for tonight, so that was pretty cool as well. Gower Chamber of Commerce. If you guys saw that little proclamation over there, we don't have a day, we have an entire week that is dedicated to our football season that we just had. I'm not even sure what to do with that. Every time it hits December 4th, we're like, this is our week. It's almost anticlimactic because it's a whole week, but that's really cool that they would provide that for us. They also got us our district shirts. So a lot of you are wearing your district shirts right now because you haven't gotten your state stuff yet. So they hooked us up with those. Those district shirts were great until we won state. Now it's like, it's good stuff. All right, the city of Gower. Okay, we already talked about that. So, let's move on to the roadies. Jeff and Susan, they helped us serve every Friday night. We'd have this big meal. We do film, obviously, a little different, where we watch it the night of. And that's kind of weird, but we do that so that these young men can still have a weekend, even though they're in the middle of the football season. While all these other kids at these other schools, they're going to bed and they have to wake up at 8 or 9 a.m. and do all that stuff the next day on a Saturday. They feel like they lost their Saturday. But this was a chance that these young men could, debrief and just have some time off. And I think it helped us down the stretch. I really do. Having that weekend and you guys could be with your families, that was a big deal. So thank you for giving up Friday night late, worrying about where your son was at sometimes. But thank you for giving up so we could get that done a lot of weeks. So the roadies, you guys did a lot of other stuff. You did breakfasts too. So you guys did a lot. Thank you guys. We appreciate you. Now I want to just take a pause real quick when it comes to the families and spouses of us coaches. Us coaches, I can only speak for my wife. I mean, I'm gone all the time. I'm not really a dad when it comes to football season, and I just want to make sure I take the time and speak for the other coaches as well. What a major sacrifice that my wife and these other wives have made for this football season. So will you guys just stop and give those. I want to quick talk about administration. A lot of people, you just have to say it to cover your bases, but this administration is legit. Anything that we need, they took care of for us. Am I wrong? They took care of us all year long. They always had our backs. Even when I would do something stupid, like have us wear, our lowers when we're still supposed to be shorts, they go and take care of all that. Misha, somebody was trying to get us in trouble, and the administration had my back, and they got us through all that BS so that we could just focus on football. So Dr. Newell, Mr. Miller, Mr. Elms, Mr. Barker, if you see those guys around, just tell them thank you for always having our back as a football program. They do a lot of good things. Now I want to talk about the ball boys. These guys were always there on the sideline helping us out. We have Logan Allen doing work. Let's let these three stand up real quick. We got Logan Allen. Where they at? Where they at? Too good to stand up? Kellen Klein, he was there a whole bunch. And Colton Woodside, he was the glue to all those guys. Yeah, Logan came up to me in the middle of a game. He's like, can I help you like the rest of the season? I'm like, yep, let's do it. And he was there every week after that. Woodside, he's been there since day one. He's been there last year. He's doing everything for us. He's the man, and I'm excited to see what he does. Well, all three of these guys are going to be stud players before you know it, so just remember their names. And then Kellen Klein wrote a letter for our team, and we used it as a hype-up speech before West Black. We played like garbage, but we still won. All right, I want to talk about the booth guys. All these gentlemen have decided that this was going to be their last year, way before our state run, and we got them their state run. So I was so proud we were able to do that for these gentlemen. These gentlemen are not here, but I want to mention their names: Jeff Gray, Paul Potier, Larry Greer, John Brindle, Keith Kilgore. All those guys are hanging it up. Man, what a great year to do that. So if you see those guys around, thank them for all their work. They put in over a decade of doing all the stuff that you don't know that they're doing up there in that booth. So that's pretty cool. And then we have in attendance the great Roger Mead, who's going to take it over. Get his son in there hyping it up. I've never met somebody more animated than the great Andrew Mead. He was out of trouble next year. Oh, shoot, we score a touchdown, you don't know. And then we had two other gentlemen, Caden Bunton. He did a whole lot of stuff for us. up there, made sure we had good film. And Riley Everett, if you see him in school, thank him for all he did up there as well. But we didn't ask him to do it, he just did it. He's the man, so thank those guys. Then there's one special film guy that we got to cover. He would come to practice, even though he's doing other things. He's a young man really into Fortnite, but he took some time away from Fortnite to help us out with some film. Blake Pryor, stand up. Very good. We got some parents who painted the bulldog at midfield. I don't know if I could name all of them, but you know who you are. I just wanted to thank you. That bulldog was always looking legit on our football field. You add that in with the track. We were professional out there, looking really good. So thank you for that. I wanted to give a special thank you to Stephen Bailey and Rachel for all that they did. I mean, if you look back there, we've got like a professional slideshow going on with actual clips. Like that's all him. A crazy barbecue that I'm still recovering from in the summer. You know, he even bought like this special volleyball net so we could do volleyball because we were into volleyball over summer. I'm going to beat all you guys at volleyball next time. But I just want to give a special thanks to those two. They did a whole lot, and they never asked for anything. He got this giant banner that you guys could run through. Even though the Velcro broke off, he took care of that. He does it all, so thank him. When it comes to special people, we're going to kind of have a moment at the end with Coach Lewis, but I want to make sure I thank Mrs. Bryant, because she went out of her way to come to special occasions, special games, and she's really the heart and soul of this season. I mean, we did a lot of what we did for Coach Bryant and for Coach Virgil Freeman. So, but she was there right by our side. So if you see Mrs. Bryant, you give her a big hug, okay? Let's keep moving on. Local media. If you see Brett Atkinson or Clint Dye, just look over there at that wall. Do you see that wall of all of those articles? I mean, it would fill up 4 papers all by itself. And they covered us like we were the Mizzou Tigers. I'm telling you, we had the Clinton County Reporter, most of that is from them. We had News Press Now. We had KQ2 with Chris Roush, Brendan Zinner over at News Press Now. Tommy Razak, I probably said his name wrong, Matt Pike, all those guys with KFEQ, and then the great Chris Ward with KKWK. We could do an interview with him every week. He would hype us up, and wow, I've never seen a team, a Class 1, maybe 2 next year, just FYI, but a Class 1 team get as much coverage as we did. Like, we got more coverage than Class 5 and 6 schools in this state, for sure. You guys were treated as if you're special, and you are special. So make sure if you see those guys out at, say, a basketball game, at a girls' basketball game, at a baseball game later on, you go up and thank them for all the coverage that they did for you. Tom Rode, he's not here right now, but special thanks to him. Danelle Hensley, we'll talk more about her in a second. Christy Mears, Krista Musser, they went out and they found donors for these championship rings. Danelle, where you at? Did you want to talk about this for a second?
I just wanted to let you guys, all parents, players, know that Christy, Tom Rode, myself, and Krista Klein made phone calls. Musser, sorry. Reached out to some local businesses and went a little beyond just Gower, and we were able to get the rings 100% paid for every coach and every player. I just want to let you guys know, if you players see and you're out in some of these businesses here, please tell them thank you. There were some that were like, can we donate it for a certain player? They didn't donate it for a certain player. It was for your entire team. So Musser Construction, Hickson and Klein Funeral Home, the EB Booster Club, Webb Heating and Cooling, Hal Myers, Mears and Son Trucking, Shelter Insurance, Gail Orstad, Human Being, Engel Plumbing and Excavating, Goes, is that? Guess, Credit Union, the Easton Pub and Grub, Centurion Law Firm, Bonnet Trailers, Armstrong Heating and Cooling, Brindle's Butcher Shop, Bank of Gower, Missouri Farm Bureau, Ornament and Kimball Auction, West Construction, and the Gower Auto Club, or Spa, Farmers Insurance Carmen, E&M, Purple Trucking, Larry Engel, Andrew Engel, and David Roof. And I just want to say, if you have a son that goes to Hildenbrandt, they purchased a ring for every one of their patients that goes there, a total of 10 rings. So if you, yeah, so if you go and get your teeth cleaned, you might want to thank them because they bought your kids' ring. That's all.
Boys, I don't know if that just sunk in. You had a community go out and fund for you and get you a $200 ring for free. So you're going, when you get that on your finger, just know that a lot of people gave that to you because of what you did. And we'll talk about what you did here in a little bit. There's 3 people who want to take the time to thank. First, she's going to be upset that I mentioned her name, but Kim Thompson, where you at? Hey, you know, a lot of people thought Kim would hang it up when her son, who was a stud athlete here, was done, and that she wouldn't really be involved in football much anymore. Well, that just wasn't the case. Every little thing that we needed taken care of, that no one would even think about, she was doing that as her secretary self in that school. And she doesn't ask for anything, she just does it. And Kim needs a round of applause. One more, do it for her. She's not going to like this either, but we got Danelle Hensley and her husband. I'm sure he did a bunch, but Danelle, round of applause. Danelle, apart from, you know, doing everything that our football team needed, then on Friday night she was also taking photos. And this isn't quite done yet, but there is a website in the works that has over 1,000, I would say, HD, 4K type photos of your sons. And they're all over, and they look good. Then we have, just on this website, it's going to be pretty special, and it's partly thanks to you, Mr. Bailey, Clint Dye. A lot of people came together and got all these photos done. Sorry if I skipped somebody there. I didn't know who was taking photos. But man, it's going to be special, and a lot of that's thanks to you taking pictures while you're doing all the other stuff. The last person I want to mention, and I know Danelle and this person kind of did a lot together, but the person that would talk to me a lot is Cassie Parker. Give her a round of applause. Cassie organized, prepared Friday night meals. She was taking care of a bunch of stuff online. The Facebook stuff was done by Danelle and Cassie. And if you needed something done, you would go see her. And she was kind of that pivotal point for us, kind of taking over for Kim, and same with you, Danelle. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows that those 3 ladies deserve something special. So these are your gifts. Come up here and get them.
Get up here, Kim.
I want to thank anybody I didn't thank. I tried my best. I tried to be exclusive, but I don't know if I got them all. All right. I just want to talk about this season just for a moment, kind of build the anticipation, and then I will bring Coach Knox and Coach Lewis up here, and we'll get this pig started. But I just want to talk about this season, starting from the summer. All you parents, all you athletes, you guys are all bought in. It started in June. We would have our camp. And during that camp, we were learning new things. We were getting stuff down. We go to Mo West. We're playing teams that are way bigger than us. And are we holding our own? Heck yeah, we're holding our own. We're beating most of them. And I was proud of the way we did that. Just about a week later, then we start doing 7-on-7. We blew a crazy game to Savannah, who we got to beat this year, week 2. I don't know if you knew that. We're playing Class 4 Savannah this year, week 2. But we got out there and we're competing with bigger teams again, teams like Lafayette, some team from Topeka, and we're beating them as well. It all started with that competition over the summer. You guys took that competition not as something to be nervous of. You just took it and you beat those teams. We even had a big man camp where we went over to Central. We embarrassed those Central big kids, did we not? Ethan, they were terrified of you. And then we started doing some fun stuff. After we got through that first week or 2 of summer, then we kind of, hopefully, we allowed you to be a kid. Go out there, lift weights in the morning, and go on and go do other things. And but by the time we hit late June, early July, then we had a fishing outing. And that fishing outing was a special time. You could tell who the fishermen were because they weren't the ones, swimming in the lake. They were the ones out. But either way, it was a whole lot of fun. I don't know how many fish we caught, but there were some big ones caught. I think Luke Webb was our champion. He caught the biggest fish. You should see this picture hanging up in the locker room. Luke Webb looks high as heck in this picture. He did. Then we would do some other fun things. We had a big fish fry. We had it at the Rhodes again. Yes, sorry, I was spacing out there for a second. And that was awesome. What a great venue. Us playing basketball, even though we broke your rim. I'm sorry. But that was awesome, allowing us to figure out we're good at volleyball and things like that. Just the moments of this team aren't always about football, and that's what I love about it. I think the best teams are the ones that have fun together as well, that do stuff outside of football. And I think that we did that pretty well, especially over the summer. We got towards the end, we had our summer camp, our late summer camp. We worked with some little kids, and that summer camp went really well, set us up for success going into the regular season. I'll try to fast forward this a little bit. We go through that fall camp, we go to the Jamboree, we win the Jamboree. Then we go on to South Harrison, a crazy road trip against a team that was 11-2 the year before. We absolutely dominate that team, 42-14. Then we go on another crazy long road trip. We go all the way to Trenton. We face Trenton, and that's another 42, I think, or 41-14 game. And then that's when we started to realize, hey, maybe this team is legit and we can go some places, right? Were you feeling that then? I know the very first day of fall camp, we had a discussion. You guys remember this? We went into, I think, Coach Painter's or Mr. Painter's room, and we sat down, and I tried to tell you guys that I believe that you can win a state championship. I just want to know, now that the season's over, raise your hand if you really believe that. Do you really believe it? I believed it, but I knew it'd be hard. I think we had our eyes more on, let's just beat Mid-Buck. We know that. Yeah! You know that Hamilton's really good. They got these 2 twins that transferred in. Everybody was mad that Hamilton was our homecoming, right? Yeah. And we knew West Platte was going to be better. Old Trent Taylor. We still didn't tackle him, but we got through that game. Someone tell me about the sign-up for this blue-white game. How some of these kids in the KCI got in that, and you guys did it.
Put on Sports Center made it, so.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go back to the first day of the season. I told you guys a story, and I don't know if it resonated with some of you or not, but I told a story about whenever I was in college and how selfishness creeped in a little bit and I didn't enjoy my experience fully. But I told you guys the lesson that I learned, and it's that if you can be satisfied with being a part of something bigger than yourself, rather than your own personal accolades, then you guys will go and win the state championship. And I remember that speech. I don't know if you guys do. But man, it sure made me feel good to see you guys care less about your statistics and your playing time and care more about the final result. And you guys got that final result, and I was so very proud of you. And it was a special moment that we all shared on December 4th. Let me get to that December 4th day. Let's just keep rolling through this season. We play Lathrop. They're tied up at halftime. We think they're tough. Then we come out and roll them in the second half. Now we come to homecoming. This is Hamilton. This is that team that we're kind of nervous about all year, but we come out and stuff them in the mouth. Then we kick a 42-yard field goal. We go up big at halftime. They can't get anything going. 22-12. We win. Now we start to feel it. We're 4-0. We know that we're good, but maybe we got a little too cocky. Because what was the next week? West Platte. Thank goodness for Kellen's speech, because I don't know if we would have won it without him. We come out, we play flat, but here's the cool thing. It's the games you almost lose that you learn from, right? Oh, shoot, maybe we're not as good as we thought, and that was part of what made us great later on in the season. But we get through West Platte. The next game is Plattsburgh. You guys absolutely roll. Jack has a giant interception, and we learn that Jack's the man. He ends up first team All-State, but we didn't know it at this time. Jack's the man after that game, and we had some other players really step up. Then we move on to the big game. This is the week that we have to go on and play Mid-Buck at Mid-Buck. We're going up there. We have the lead. We're up by a touchdown. We got this game, right? We got it. Mistakes happen. We let the game go. But that game, from after the season, kind of looking back, was a game that shaped everything. Any game that you lose, let me tell you as a coach, you are going to watch way more film on the game that you lose than the game that you win. And we went back and we located our weaknesses. We studied up what we were bad at, and we got better at it. And these coaches right here, this is a testament to them. It wasn't me. We'd come back through, we would talk about it, we'd all be on the same page, and we had a plan. And we almost executed that plan too well, because instead of focusing on our next opponents, we were really focusing on the future time that we're going to play Mid-Buck. And I know you players kind of saw it like, why are we running this? That's not what the other team runs. But we were preparing for this battle that was to come. And you guys took that and ran with it. The next few games, we played Lawson, we take care of Lawson. We play North Platte, we take care of North Platte. We go on and play Carrollton, we take care of Carrollton. But now it's back to Mid-Buck. This is it. Week 10 of the season, your season is done if you don't win this game, if you don't take care of business and bounce back. And I know I was nervous because they somehow found a way to beat us before. And we're at the same place. We've got to go play them there. Our season's over in the semifinals. We're going to be worse than we were last year. We got to the championship last year. We got to beat these guys, and you guys came through and took care of business. And I don't think anybody that went to that game thought for a second that Mid-Buck was better than you. You guys showed them that you were better. And they went home, and you guys moved on. That led us to University Academy, a team, when you look on film, they were the fastest people we've ever seen in Class 1. But that didn't matter to old Adam Stevens. He didn't care. Trevor Klein didn't care either. I think Crew Conaway had a big pick in that game as well, and we take care of business, 38-12. Now we're in the playoffs. Now we're rolling, but we got to play Hamilton again. The team that we played at homecoming. Anytime you play a team twice, that's tough, right? Same score, 22-12. I don't know if we really got better, but we certainly didn't get worse, and we beat them. Next game. By the way, that game was sweet. Just looking at the home crowd, everybody in the city of Gower out there on a beautiful weather day. What an awesome feeling. And then to have that deja vu the very next week playing Thayer at home for a semifinal game, a game that we have never gotten through in the history of East Buchanan. Not in '78, not in 2011, not in 2017. But there's 75 too, right? 2004. 2004, because they went to the state championship. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, you're like, my son! I thought you know. He was squirming in his seat. That game, 34-6. Probably the most lopsided game against a very good opponent that I've seen, and you guys absolutely dominated at home. Again, kind of like the Mid-Buck game, I don't think anyone had a doubt who the better team was. And now it's time for state. We've never been to state. We had no idea what to expect. Trust me, I made some mistakes while we were down there. I lost some paperwork. We go into the stadium, I didn't have the right name tags. It was a mess. What? Gold Corral's a great choice. Are you saying if we go next year, we ain't eating Gold Corral? I was really proud of that. I got that bug. Anyway, go down there. The other team bleaches their hair. They're super confident. They think they're studs. Our defense absolutely showed up and absolutely dominated the other team. 21-7. We didn't even play our best game on special teams or offense. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. And you guys became state champions. Everybody who is in this room, I guess there's only 43 in here, and then there's 8 of you guys that are watching this right now. 9 of you guys. You guys are state champions. No one could ever take that from you. Will you press mute on that so they aren't talking to That's something you guys can take on forever. But the thing I will take on forever isn't the fact that you're state champions. It was the fact that I completely did not expect what would happen as we went home. We go and celebrate with these Taco Bell employees, and finally we get to Smithville. And as we get to Smithville, we start seeing cars kind of sprinkled around, honking. We're like, what are they doing? They're parents and family members and people that love you, hyping you up. And as we get closer and closer to Gower, you see more and more people. All of a sudden, you look over, there's fireworks. Like, what the heck is going on? You get into the city limits of Gower. There is wall-to-wall people. This guy does a burnout. This is the craziest burnout I've ever seen. It was black. I mean, oh my God. You're tired? Who was that? But we get through all these people honking and us waving. All I can really remember is Ethan's shirt off. I don't know why. We pull into the parking lot, and everybody and their grandma is there cheering us on. Now, I know I'm just a coach, but I felt like I was a big part of those cheers, and that was one of the most special moments that I will take to my grave. And I just want to thank all of you, because I know you guys were there for that moment that I got to share with these young men right over here. And that is pretty much the recap of the 2021 season. Give these guys a So you've heard me talk enough, at least for a moment. So I want to turn this over to our coaches, Coach Knox and Coach Lewis, to now talk about your sons. I'm sick of talking. Let's talk about them, and let's hype these young men up. Come on up, gentlemen. Let's talk about it.
So we're going to talk about the freshmen mainly. So freshmen, please come up here. Just line up down that way.
Yeah, freshmen.
A lot of them.
So can they hear?
They can hear, yeah. They can't talk. Wireless anything?
All right, Coach Knox and I are going to split this up just because there's 18 of them. Well, more than that actually. For just JV, this would be awesome numbers. Like this would be a heck of a JV team. But this is just our freshmen. Like this is awesome. Now, it's also kind of a problem for coaches because we got to try to find time for everyone, and that is difficult sometimes. You know, we tried. I know Coach and I both tried really hard to get everyone in every game at some point. It's not easy sometimes, you know, I will say that. So like I said, we're going to split up, talk about each kid briefly. So first, Dylan Davidson. Dylan played wide out and D-back for us. You know, he came up with some big plays, I know. I always knew that he knew what was going to happen. He talked a lot to the players out there, which is big. You know, having someone out there that's vocal, that's really nice. Nathan Schilling, he had kind of a rough freshman year, broke his collarbone, was out for, what, 6 weeks, 5 weeks, came back, hurt his hip. I am glad he did stick it out. I'm hoping that did not deter him and he will be back next year, because I do think he has some things to offer. You know, he's pretty intense coming off the edge on defense. Caden Ray, you know, he was out for a week or so as well. He's a guy that I'd heard a lot about, you know, having Gavin. I had Gavin, his brother, since he was in 6th grade, and was told numerous times they're not the same kid, and they weren't kidding. Caden would come down as a freshman and light somebody up, and as a defensive coach, that is awesome. Like, you have a freshman not afraid to hit anybody is awesome. Isaiah, I know Isaiah can't be here tonight. Isaiah's one of those kids, he's super smart, he knows how to do things. He served multiple purposes. He was big on scout team a lot because we play a lot of mobile quarterbacks. And our 2 JV quarterbacks were Isaiah and Gage. And if you know Gage is not fleet of foot. So Isaiah had to fill into that role a lot, and that was a big help on the varsity level. Connor Raymond. Connor's another one. You know, he is slight in stature. I remember we had a practice. He came up and hit somebody, and I was like, where did that come from? And from that point on in the season, that happened over and over in games. He's another one of those guys that is not afraid of contact. And again, you don't find that in freshmen. Emory Perry, one of the smartest kids I know. You know, you could tell him, hey, we need you to do this, and he did it. Didn't ask questions, you know, unless he needed to ask a question. But, you know, if we told him, it was never questioning what we did. Yep, I'll go out and do it. Caden Webb. Caden Webb is a kid that asks questions, but he asks good questions because he wanted to learn. You know, he would constantly be asking, what do I need to do on this play? Okay, here's what you do. And they were always good questions. And that is a good learning trait for a football player, to be willing to ask questions and listen. And then Parker Conroy, Parker's not here as well. I don't know that Parker had played football before, but Parker would do anything you asked. I remember against Trenton, we're like, we need a right tackle. Coach Knox put in Parker Conroy. He weighs about 130 pounds. He did it. He did exactly what was asked. It was like, you know what you're doing? No. Coach Knox told him, and he went and did it. That is, again, an awesome trait. There was never, I don't think I could do it. Those guys are bigger than me. Never an option. He went out and did it, and, you know, it was quite impressive. So, Coach Knox is going to take the next group here.
First one I have is Gavin Oops. Started the year not doing a whole lot in practice sometimes. I was wondering, like, hey, where is he? And then got him in games a few times, and he really made a name for himself. The mid-buck game, threw just some seams down to him. He's just running past people. I was like, why aren't you doing this in practice? Like, do this in practice. It'll get you a lot of balls in games and in practice. So I think with some time in the weight room, a little bit bigger, we'll be in really good shape in a few years. Samuel Brushwood took a beating all year long. The best thing about Samuel, though, the reason he took a beating was because he knew where he was supposed to be. So he would be in the right spot, and then There's a gentleman over there that just really doesn't care who you are, what your name is, anything about you. The ball's in my hand. You're on the wrong path. Crew would run through them, or even some of the linemen pulling for Samuel just on the track. Good job, Samuel. You're in the right spot. But somebody help Samuel up. But over the next couple of years, he's tough, he's strong, he's going to be perfectly fine as he gets older. Andrew Road, another smart offensive lineman for us. I think that as time goes on, you'll find out that one thing that I'm going to tell all of these guys is they've just got to get bigger, faster, and stronger. Andrew Road knows the offense. Once he figures out the weight room, he's going to be very, very useful for us. Nash, super athletic. Nash sometimes can learn maybe where to go. He's going to be just fine. Mix Nash and Samuel together, we're going places. Will Matthews, another smart offensive lineman for us. Going to be able to play a lot for us over time. Kyle Parmesan. Got one practice story. We're doing tackling and we're doing box tackling. Kyle's got the ball in his hand, goes up, makes a move. Aiden, earmuffs real quick. Aiden just completely whiffs. Embarrassing moment for him. Well, Kyle grabs the ball. Next time, the young man we were talking about just a little bit ago, you don't care who you are, what your name is. Sorry to bring it up, Kyle. Crew just absolutely destroys him. It was one of the best ones. Watch him juke it in, and then I felt really bad that Crew just killed him. Maverick played center for us, going to be a good guy in the middle of the line for us to kind of just block everything up, not have to worry about nose tackles pushing him around. Low stature, pretty strong, so as time goes on, another guy that's going to be really good for us. Last but not least, Jacob King. Big, tall kid, pretty strong. Best block I've seen all year. Mid-buck, we were playing, it was 3rd and long, and we ran a tunnel screen. 4 corner out there, standing 5'2". Jacob pulls, runs straight down the line. Pushes that kid about 7 yards out, runs up, grabs another guy. We're in a really good place over the next couple of years with these group of kids. I will say it before it gets said again. We don't have the season that we do without this group of kids. And I've said it 1,000 times on the bus ride home with them from Columbia. If we don't have these kids, we don't win. Because week in and week out, they did things better than what the actual varsity teams did on Friday night, Saturday afternoon. And I just really, really want everybody to give them a round of applause because it's not possible without this team.
One other one we have, I know, again, he is not here. Luca, he is, foreign exchange student, never played football in his life, was a soccer player, came out, I know his host parents pretty well, and she looked me in the face, she's like, he is not to get hit. Okay, I'll do what I can. Okay, so he goes out, he kicks, he does a pretty good job. I don't remember who we were playing, Hamilton? Playing Hamilton, and we got the ball down at the 1-yard line. I look at Luke, I go, do you want to run the ball? And he looked at me, he says, what? I said, you want to run the ball? He goes, what about Catherine? I go, I'll take care of Catherine. It's fine. He goes, I don't know what to do. I said, just stand next to Busby. He'll hand you the ball, run it straight forward. Give credit to the guys in front of him. He went in, he never got touched. After the game, I walked over to Catherine and said, hey, I'm sorry. I couldn't pass it up though. And she's like, that's fine. We loved it. They were cheering. And more after that, he could not play varsity, being a foreign exchange student that wasn't a senior, and so his season ended way earlier than the rest of the teams. He was there every day at practice. He did some filming. He became a big part of this team. Your sons did a great job of embracing him. There was never a doubt that he was part of our team. They wanted every game possible. They wanted him to get in and kick. Unfortunately, he couldn't. But, you know, I'm proud of our boys for accepting him as ours. And I'm super proud of Luca for trying something and finding, honestly, pretty good success for someone who's never played football in their life. So, thank you. There's a couple of freshmen up here we didn't talk about. That's because they kind of, you know, we've got 2 of them that earned provisional letters, which mean if they letter next year, they will actually get 2 bars. It's a pretty big honor. And then we had 4 freshmen that lettered through various things that they did. So our 2 provisionals are Aiden Smith. Aiden, you know, was on special teams for us in certain things. He was always a go-to backup. You know, he has a football mind. He knows exactly what is asked, what is being asked. He is a coach out there for, you know, on the JV. I always knew that he knew what he was doing. He could always tell you what everyone else was supposed to do as well. You know, that is a huge thing to have there.
He was my play caller on Friday night. I was too busy trying to look at the field, and so Aiden's job was to tell me what play we were running the next play. So he did a very good job of that.
And then Colson Orstad, he's also earning a provisional letter. Another one that, you know, if we needed someone to run down on a kickoff, we're going to him. He made a huge impact on scout team as well, which we'll talk about later. He would legit have our offensive linemen pissed at him by the end of the day because he was doing such a good job and they were tired of getting beat up on him. So he, you know, big shout outs to that. I mean, for a kid that weighs 130 to have a big offensive lineman getting pissed at him, that's awesome. He probably was more than 130, but 150. Well, obviously I don't know what 150 looks like. So then our 4 letter winners. First off, we have Trey Johnson. Trey played special teams for us. I believe Trey was on kickoff and punt. You know, he's very quick, very physical. Those, you know, those are 2 things that you need to be on special teams, just to fly down the field, not be afraid to go hit anybody. Ty Engel. Ty filled in for us when Tucker got hurt, kind of middle part of the year, so we needed someone to long snap on extra points. That is probably the worst job in football. I mean, you have got guys bigger than you on both sides, and as you can see, Ty's not very big either, and they just, their job is to run through you. And so you've got to think, okay, I've got to get this snap back, the guy's got to catch it, and then I got to not get destroyed. Okay, Ty did a great job of that. I don't think he had any bad snaps. And, you know, we were very successful on our extra points and field goals. And for a freshman to step up like that on a state championship run is impressive. That's impressive. So, good job, Ty. Okay, next we have Kyler Paxson. Kyler's another one of those. He played special teams for us. He was on kickoff all year. And again, it takes a special mentality. Coach Ritter said that to be on kickoff. You just got to run down there and say, hey, whoever gets in front of me, I'm going to run you over on my way to the ball. And that's Kyler to a T. You know, he's a hockey player, so I think they're all a little bit nutty anyways. And that carries over to the football field. So great job, Kyler. And then last, Corbin Allen. Corbin has an amazing work ethic. You know, he worked all year to get where he was, and by week 8, after mid-buck, Corbin took over our right guard spot. You know, that's, again, as a freshman, regardless of size, to have to step up and play guard in our conference is impressive. You know, I don't know that anyone got yelled at in practice more than him, but he figured it out. I mean, he would jump off sides in practice like, what are you doing? Come games, he wasn't the one jumping off sides, or he wasn't the one false starting. Okay, so he had that mentality. You know, if he messed up, he fixed it. You know, and we would get mad at him, but then we would always remind ourselves, he's a freshman. He's 15 years old. Okay, so he did a good job. You know, he started varsity or JV to start the year, worked his way up slowly, gained playing time. Was it the Hamilton district game that I had to throw you in on defense as well? And he comes up with a huge tackle. Our D linemen are gassed. You know, I'm like, I need somebody. Corbin, go make a play. He hadn't played defense in weeks. Goes in, makes a huge tackle for a stop on 3rd down. They kick the ball back to us. They don't get it back. Okay, so I mean, he came ready to play every week. So, good job.
All you freshmen, as soon as you take a seat, I want you to look up here. I have something that I want to tell you in front of all of these people. We will never win another state championship at East Buchanan unless you guys make a commitment. It's all about you. Here's some things that can get in the way of us winning another state championship. We don't put time in the weight room. We don't get our classroom grades right, so we're not ineligible. Jobs and working, that's a big one. Some people are like, well, I'd rather just go work after school than put the time in for football. Video games, we're always fighting with them. Girls, that might show up here before too long. All these things could possibly become more important than football to you. And I want to apologize to a lot of parents in here because us as coaches, there was really only 4 of us that were with the varsity most of the year. And these young men, we didn't get to see them really shine. We try to give them opportunities to show themselves, but with us just being 4 coaches, us seeing all of your athletes is unrealistic. It's unrealistic, and it's very hard. But we're putting some things in place, and we're going to talk to the coaching staff of ways that we can really evaluate younger people. And we can see and give you opportunities to shine in practice, outside the field. What we're looking for is improvement in effort. And if you guys are always putting in the time and improving and giving good effort, we are going to make sure that we see you guys shine, and we're going to give you opportunities on that football field. Without you, freshmen, we will do nothing come next year. So we need you. We need you. I want you to know how important you are. Really, you're the most important people in this room. No offense to the older guys. So give them one last round of applause. All right, this is actually going to go pretty quickly. We're going to acknowledge some varsity letter winners, some first-time varsity letter winners. And then we're going to bring some guys up who are pin winners, who also receive accolades. We'll give you all your accolades at once, and we'll talk about those things, and then we'll get on to the seniors. That's what we really want to talk about tonight, and we're actually moving right along. So I'm going to start out with Gavin Rohde. Or stand up or either come up here. Do you want them to stand up or come up? Come on up, Gavin Rohde. Get a football, a pen, an EB. Everybody that gets a varsity letter gets that. You're a stud. Stay right here. Don't stand there. All right. Gavin Rohde. He put the time in. 15 weeks. This is, again, an apology. I didn't give him much opportunities. We kind of switched his spots towards the beginning of the season, but he got so much better throughout the course. You ended up playing outside linebacker instead of middle linebacker, and we can tell that that's where you're going to shine. Anytime that you kind of go up on that line of scrimmage, you were doing some good stuff. And you got better and better at pass dropping throughout the season. I'd like to see you do some offensive things this year. You've already got that big frame. Watch for Gavin Rohde next year. He may emerge on your radar, and you didn't know he was coming. Give this young man a round of applause. The next guy we got is Nathaniel Fortney. Come on up. What do you think of when you think of Nathaniel Fortney? Here's the word that comes to my mind before you fill it in. fast. This guy is blazing. He's going to go to state this year in the hurdles, maybe 2 different hurdles event, maybe some of those relays as well. He is so fast. And you're going to see this young man emerge in 1 or 2 spots, maybe both, I don't know. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to say, 40, get in there. And we're going to run him on a streak, a go route, or a post. And this guy is going to catch a big, deep ball, and everybody's going to be like, who is that guy? In the end zone, 20 yards behind everybody. Then we're going to put him in at a place like corner, and you're going to see this guy shine. This year, is it Carrollton, or was it Plattsburgh? Who was it? It was Plattsburgh. This guy had this crazy interception where he caught it, twinkle-toed inbounds, and fell out of bounds. It was awesome. It was awesome. Nathaniel Forney is going to be a stud. I just don't know which side of the ball. Give this young man a round of applause. All right. This guy's going to be the man next year. Come on up here, Gage Busby. Let's see. Now, I spoke too soon because listen to this right now. You got a guy a little bit younger than you, Isaiah Watkins, who's going to push you every step of the way. But Gage Busby is trying to fill the shoes, and he's filling the shoes, size 15. He's going to try to fill the shoes of the great Connor Musser. We're going to see if he can do it. This year, Gage Busby made a lot of improvement. The game, he allowed it to come to him. He started to see the field better. He started to make reads better and do some good things. The thing I love about Busby is towards the end of the season, this is inevitable, but your reps kind of get cut. You kind of end up standing and watching. This guy was always engaged. And that's what you're looking for in the next guy who's going to be the man, is the guy who's always committed, and even when the show's not about him, he's still there doing the right things. Give Gage Busby a round of applause. All right, this guy can't come up here because he is quarantined, but let's talk about Aiden Road right now. So you better clap it up. All right. So Aiden Road, I'm trying to make sure I'm not skipping anybody. He may be the smartest guy in the football field. He knows exactly what to do at all times, offense or defense. Am I wrong? The dude knows. Now last year, his body hadn't really caught up to his knowledge. But this year, his body is starting to catch up, and he's starting to look more and more like a big-time athlete. He's getting taller. His shoulders are getting broader. He's hitting the weight room. He's getting faster. You watch out. You watch out for this young man. He is going to be big time. And right here, this is you, buddy. This is your varsity letter. You earned that. Give him a round of applause. The next guy, also not here, don't forget to clap for him. He's listening, hopefully, is Mason Brown. Mason Brown is a guy who almost came out his freshman year, but then wanted to focus on baseball and basketball. But this year, I don't know who talked him into it, but this young man came out. Now, Mason Brown, we hadn't seen much from this young man. We didn't know what to expect. But I tell you, we knew exactly what we had whenever we had a corner go down in a game, and we're like, Mason Brown, get in there. The very next play, he drops back, he reads the play, bam! Kid's on the ground. You're like, is that Mason Brown? That's Mason Brown. And this guy, he stepped up in a multitude of games. 4, 5, 6 games. He came in there, and he played well, and he tackled well. And for a guy like Crew Conaway who's leaving that defense, this is a guy who could fill in that spot and us not skip a beat. This guy is the man. Now, when it comes to an athlete like him, he may emerge on the offensive side of the ball this year as well. I know we got him hit a couple times on in the JV, I know Mr. Brown doesn't really like that, but I'm telling you, he can hit, but he can also catch the ball, so don't give up on his potential at the receiver. Will you guys give it up for Mason Brown? This guy. One more guy who's, actually there's a couple more who aren't here, but keep clapping it up for him. Ty Humbard. Ty Humbard was a guy who put the time in last winter and spring and into the summer, and he was looking the part, he was fast, he was doing the right things. Once it hit the football season, he was right there in the mix, but a couple injuries, a couple crazy things took place, and he didn't get all the time that he deserved. And a lot of that is on me as a defensive coordinator or co-defensive coordinator. I know Coach Lewis does a whole lot of that. And the linebackers coach, I didn't give him enough of the shake. But this guy is going to stand out next year. He can hit people. He knows exactly where to be. He's getting faster, and the dude's strong as an ox. He is good and fast and strong, and I'm excited to see what he does. Even though we weren't giving him much time, he had the perfect attitude throughout the whole season, and that's the type of guy that we're looking for on this football team. So give it up for Ty Humboldt. Another guy who's not here, but make sure he feels pretty welcome, Cade Jones. Cade Jones, you can quote me on this. He's going to be the hardest hitter on our team next year. He's going to come downhill and stick people. This guy is tough. He's tough as nails. He doesn't like playing O-line. We'll find a different spot for him maybe on offense. But this guy defensively, he's playing like that DN linebacker hybrid spot that we kind of have, and he's nasty. He's learning the game a little bit, but once it clicks in his head, he is going to be a guy that stands out and should be fighting for a starting spot next year. I'm so excited about the depth of this football program. Right now we're getting 10 of our 11 starters back from last year. Really Luke was in there as well as a starter. He was just playing every which way. But we have to fill just a couple spots, or a guy emerge and take one of their spots, and I feel like a guy like Cade Jones can do that. So give Cade a round of applause here. All right. Now, I won't make you stand. No, I ain't going to make him stand up and come up here. Just don't pass out. Let's get Zachary Andrews up here. You know how I know Zachary Andrews is putting in the time, because he put in the time today. So much so, he passed out and hit his face super hard on a bench. So there's that. No, Zach Andrews, he's a guy that, again, I kind of have to apologize to, because Zach Andrews, he put in the time. He always had a great attitude. He showed glimpses of greatness. And he'd come into the game, and he'd only get, 5 or 6 snaps. And during those 5 or 6 snaps, you'd go get a big sack or something. We didn't give him enough opportunities. Most of that was due to us just not knowing what you had, and you being a first-time player. But you being a big-time senior next year, fight for a leadership position on the team, and you're going to be right in there in the mix. You should be fighting for a starting spot next year. You're nasty. You're unblockable, especially on the defensive line spot. All right, give Zachary Andrews a round of applause. All right, bring up Sawyer Musser, a.k.a. Pappy. Let's go. Pappy was in a tough situation. His brother Tucker emerged at the starting center very early on. That is no knock to Sawyer. Sawyer was battling for a position at the guard and kind of tackle position the entire year. Even though he wasn't getting that playing time, this guy was fighting the whole year, never complained about anything, would always come up to us as coaches, ask what he could do better, and that is going to pay off. This guy's putting the time in the off season, and he's going to be fighting for that starting spot. And everybody's going to know Sawyer Musser's name next year. Everybody's going to be chanting in the crowd. Pat, Pat, Pat. He deserves that varsity letter. Give him a round of applause. Very last one, no. We got 2 left, and then we'll talk about some accolades that young men got. Our next one is Brazen Pryor. Pryor is the man. Everybody looks up to Brazen. Brazen's only problem is the dude is so funny. Sometimes it's hard to take him serious, but I told him, all right, you got to have some kind of weird thing that you do before you get really serious so people take you serious. Like, put your fist in the air and be super impressive. But I'm telling you, Brazen has big-time leadership ability. I want you to fight for a captain spot when you're a senior this year. All right? This young man has put the time in. When it comes to his line play, he's gotten so much better. Your footwork's getting better. You're getting more agile. You're getting stronger. And I'm super excited to see what you do this next year. And you deserve this varsity letter. That's for you. All right. This last young man is online right now, but make sure you hype it up for him. Barrett Veach. Barrett, I'm sorry, I know you wanted to be here today, but COVID had other plans. But when it comes to you, this is the last person I'm going to apologize to, because you should have gotten accolades this year. You should be all-conference guy and all-district guy. You were right there on the cusp of getting those things. You were a dominant force on the interior line. Last year we knew you were going to be good because you were absolutely dominating when it came to JV. Then you got in the varsity game and that continued. You were holding down your gap. You were doing big things, making big plays all year long. You were a staple for our defense and you deserve those things. But at the very least, we can get you a varsity letter, which you've earned, and next year, if you don't have accolades by your name, something went wrong. Give it up for Barrett. So now I'm going to go through the list, and we have some accolades for on the team. They are in no particular order. Just they're in number order. So we'll have some guys who may have been first team All-State, and then we'll have some guys who are, second team All-District. They're in no particular order, but for the sake of your time, we're going to go through them pretty quickly. All right, so the very first one up, number 1 on the field and number 1 in your hearts, come up, Jack Archman. I need help, like handing them the things. I'm gonna give this back. It has the accolades in it that I didn't bring. Okay, there we go. All right. First, let's talk about Jack a little bit. Jack was a guy, he's a sophomore, he's in the weight room, and I see him kind of chewing on his necklace kind of over in the corner, and he's just kind of this gangly sophomore, and I'm like, who is this kid? I didn't know. JV came out and started balling as a tight end, but this year, he wasn't, at the beginning of the season, he wasn't really a starter. We were going with the seniors, or with a junior and a senior out there. But Jack, we knew he had some stuff because he was so fast, he'd always make the tackle. Eventually he got in that starting spot, and then he started making interceptions and sacks and big-time tackles for losses. Then people would stop running to his side altogether. And before you know it, he had all of these accolades. Check this out. All-conference second team. Apparently it's harder to get all-conference than it is to get All-State in our particular conference, which is probably true. The KCI is money, but they just didn't know about you at that time. So you're all-conference second team. First team All-District. First team All-News Press. And then first team All-State. Yeah! This is about Jack and about the rest of these guys who we'll talk about who are All-State. Guys, get this. We have 9 guys, I think 8 or 9 that ended up All-Conference. We had 11 be All-State. That is virtually unheard of. Here's why it's unheard of. You're only allotted 10 spots if you win the state championship. That means all 10 of those guys got All-State recognition and our kicker. 11. That's crazy. Give that a except going into the all-state meeting, sitting down as the state champion head coach and being like, this kid's a boss, make him first team, and they're like, okay. It was awesome. It was awesome. I'm going to go in the order of this sheet here. All right, let's bring this next guy up. We have more to talk about this guy, but let's just bring him up. Connor Musser. What can you say?
The latter part
quarterback
because he's 74.
That led us to the state championship. He is a person of integrity. He's always doing the right things. He's a captain. I don't think anybody in here can say a bad word about Connor Musser. He's the man. I wasn't supposed to do things up here right now, but I'm going to go ahead and do this real quick. What? I got found out. That's Dad's fault. All conference honorable mention. Wear that badge with pride. All district, all news press, and second team all state. Wow! And he said the F word in a speech. I wasn't supposed to bring seniors up, so I made that anticlimactic there with Connor. Let's move on to the next. Let's bring up Nick Klein. Nick Klein was super mad at me at the beginning of the year. We had other inside linebackers as starters for the Jamboree. He was mad about that. We had a three-way tie, and we kind of decided to not go with him as a starter for South Harrison. After that game, after him mutilating offenses and making every single tackle and absolutely covering the entire field at all times, Nick became a starter and never looked back. Here's some accolades that Nick has. All district, all news press, and all state. Nick Klein is a stud, and everybody, even though he's short, now knows his name, and they will fear the great Nick Klein next year on that football field, because the dude's only a sophomore. Give it up for Nick Klein. The next guy up, almost as famous as Pappy, his brother, Tucker Musser. Come on up. Tucker Musser, at the beginning of the year, I looked at his body type and I said, he's a sophomore, he can definitely have some playing time, but he's not quite there yet. Boy, was I wrong. Tucker Musser, starting center every game, even hurts his leg, gets through that leg injury, comes back, starts. Playoff game, start. Another playoff game, start. Thayer, dominated. State championship, dominates. And now he's the state champion center, and he even has accolades. This dude is all district. Give it up for Tucker. The next guy is Chase Mears. Chase Mears, a young man who almost played football his freshman year, but didn't. He had some stuff going on, and he just couldn't play. We had him in weight training for a while. He kept getting stronger and bigger, and Chase began to realize that he can absolutely dominate people on that football field. So he came out his sophomore year. Now he had to fight and grind for playing time. The first few games, you got a few snaps here or there, but you slowly worked your way up the entire season, and he became a staple of our defense, making big plays in the state championship. And due to all that, at the end of the day, this young man was an all-district football player. Chase is a success story. Give him a round of applause. Riley Parker. Riley Parker messes up his hair on purpose. Thank you. Looks good. Riley Parker. Riley Parker, because I already said this to you yesterday, I'm going to say it. At the beginning of the year, you look at him, he's got a good frame, he's got a good motor, but I felt like he was kind of stiff. He didn't read pullers very well. If you don't know what that is, we'll talk about it some other time. But Riley Parker, throughout the whole entire year, got better and better and better. If Riley Parker doesn't make all of those improvements throughout the year, we don't come even close to state. We knew he had some issues going into that mid-buck game. He had some stuff that we ironed out. He fixed those things. The next time we play mid-buck, we win, Riley rolls. We go into the playoffs. Riley has a whole bunch of tackles. Our stat guys didn't understand. They kept on giving his tackles to somebody else, but we got it corrected at the end of it all, and Riley had a whole bunch of tackles. This guy was everywhere on that field, and he had some big-time hits in the state championship. We don't win it without you. And at the end of the day, we still got Riley some accolades, all district. Give this guy a round. All right, the next one up is Aiden Hensley. Aiden Hensley. This is unheard of stuff. He's a mile runner, and he's still somehow one of the fastest guys on the team and plays corner. That might be the only guy in the state who's a state mile runner and also a corner on the football field. That's hard to do, but this guy did it. Not only that, is we weren't sure what we had at corner because we lost Drew Thompson, who was a phenomenal corner, kind of a shutdown guy last year. Who's going to step up and kind of take his spot? Well, by the time we hit week 2, we had no questions about that. It was you. And you were a stud the whole year. You had some big-time PBUs. You had some pass breakups that were, I guess that's a PBU. He did a whole lot of good stuff for us. He didn't have a whole lot of interceptions, but this year he's going to, and that'll give him a little bit more accolades. But check this out. The dude is all conference. It's hard to get all conference in the KCI, and he's also all district. Give it up for Aiden. All right. Let's move on to the biggest football player on our team, Ethan Bailey. Bring it up. Ethan Bailey's knees are back. He had this crazy meniscus thing going on during the football season, but I saw him hang cleaning today. He's back. Dude's back. He's the strongest guy on our football team. We have this club called the 700-pound club and then the 900-pound club. He's the only guy rocking in the 1,000-pound club, and he's working on his way up to the 1,100-pound. So this guy is the strongest dude on the team. Ethan gets stuff done. Right when you're mad at him about certain stuff, he shows up right before it's supposed to be done, and he gets it done. He gets it done on the football field. He gets it done everywhere in life. Ethan Bailey is a big-time boss. You are not running the ball in the A-gap with this guy on the football field. Am I wrong? Right. How many guys ran it in the A-gap? They would just take dive out of the play. They're not running it this week. You are a beast. No one could run it there, so that let our linebackers scrape. That changed the dynamic of the whole football game. And even when our center goes down for a couple of games, you come in there, launch him high and to the right, but we still got it. I've never been so mad at a young man. I said, they're all right here. Throw it here. Your foot's in front of the other. It's fine. You're not a center. But he's all conference second team, which is ridiculous. He should be first team. He's all district. He's all News Press first team, and this guy is a unanimous, it's hard to do this, unanimous first team all state. Bring up Alec Hessen. In his LSU hoodie. I'm sure they did great this year. All right. Alec Heston did not play football last year, but one time it was halftime and Coach Knox goes out there and is like, let's see it. Lines up for a 50-yarder, kicks it through. We're like, oh, shoot. Let's get that dude out. And we did, and he was a stud. Besides his like Plattsburgh mannerisms, this guy always was, I'm just kidding, he's so much fun to be around. He tries to beat me up all the time, even though he's way smaller than me, but he's a lot of fun. Now, Alec, he improved the entire year. He was having some kickoff issues when it came to crunch time. We're playing Thayer, we're playing Hamilton, we're in the state championship. You're kicking it down to the 5-yard line consistently. Those are going to all turn into touchbacks next year, and you're going to go from second team All-State to first team All-State. And it's going to be pretty awesome. Here's what Alec got. All conference second team, all district, all news press first team, and all state second team. You're the second best kicker in all of Class 1. And we need you to punt. So learn how to punt. At least he didn't kick one backwards like Connor must. In that stat book you have, it says Connor kicked the 40-yarder. I say no to that. Someone messed something up. So. All right, let's move on. Now we have Adam Stephen Ingus. One time, it's like week 2 of the season, and someone walks in, they're like, Steve got in a wreck. And I'm like, who is Steve? Anyway, I guess that's a mocking thing that they do to him. His name is not Steve, it's Adam Steve. Now, this young man also has stepped it up. A couple years ago, he was a freshman thrown into the fire of varsity, and he stepped up then. Last year, he was kind of a sophomore, and he had to go against stud receivers like against Mid Buchanan, and they tried doing hitches and goes on him. This year, ain't nobody doing that to you. You were a shutdown corner, and even in the KCI conference, we only had 3 first-teamers, and you were one of them, because everybody knew that you were the best corner. Don't throw it to your side, because you're going to come up with big picks. Speaking of big picks, count them. Not 1, not 2, kind of 3 picks against University Academy. This guy came up in the crunch time and made huge plays for us. Here's the crazy thing. He's a better receiver than he is a DB. We just had so many offensive weapons, we didn't get him the ball enough. So I would like to see you absolutely emerge as a deep threat, as a route runner next year. I want you to be all-conference first team on both offense and defense. And I think that's going to happen with this stud junior who's going to be a senior next year. Here's some of his accolades right here. All-conference honorable mention. No. The honorable mention receiver, all-conference, first-team cornerback, all-district, KKWK all-star team. That's something not a lot of us guys got. All-news press, and he was all-state.
And
Give it up
Sports Center. Sports Center Steve.
And Sports Center. All right, the next one up, we have Carson White. Carson White, 6'4", jumps out the gym, has a 10.7 standing vertical, freaking beast. He has a 9.8 broad jump. And when this guy gets on the football field, if you're trying to run to his side, think again. You got to run to Jack's side, and that won't go well either. This guy absolutely shut down other teams on defense. He was unstoppable. He always has a good attitude. He fakes like he doesn't want to do something, and then he does it, and he does it well. And those are the kind of guys that are fun to be around that make this team what it is. Guys that are fun to be around. If we were all a bunch of just guys you don't want to be around, you could have any. But he's a good one. And I'm so proud of him because they only gave him honorable mention all conference as a tight end. And defense, all conference on defense, they gave him second team because he didn't really have the stats. But Carson White arguably could be one of our MVPs on this team. Without him, we don't do what we do on defense, and without him in that tight end position that's always going in motion, him blocking downhill, he's got better at blocking this year. You're a big-time player for us, and I'm so proud of you. So here's some of the accolades that this young man has. All-conference, honorable mention, all-conference, second-team DN, all-district, all-news press, second team, and all-state. Give it up for Carson White. Our last underclassman that we need to mention, right? Trevor Klein, come on. He looks small. Don't underestimate this young man. Guys, Trevor Klein, I think we all know he's the real deal. Trevor Klein is the real deal, though, to me, as a coach in other ways. This guy is the hardest worker in the weight room. Sometimes I go and work out with him. We have a smaller weight training, so I go over there and try to show him up, but I don't. Like, he's doing basically the same weight I am. Like, he's a freak, and he just look at him. He is nasty. But here's what I love the most from a coaching standpoint. He's the most fun to be with. We have this little group, it's called Triple G's, where we do like some Bible study type stuff, and we talk about Jesus. And he's there, and he's so much fun while he's there. He asks good questions, we do all this stuff together, and he's there the whole time. Like, if I was your age, you'd be the guy I call to hang out with. You're a whole lot of fun, and you're the centerpiece of these next couple of years. Everybody's going to be focusing on you, but I already know that you're going to have no problem. They're not going to be able to stop you. Just listen to some of this stuff that Trevor Klein has. All conference, first team, unanimous. All conference, second team, safety. That's because I try to get crew some stuff, and we got it, baby. All district, KMZU dream team, KKWK all-star team, all news press, first team running back, all news press, area player of the year, and unanimous all-state first team running back. Out loud in front of people. There's going to be college coaches that come looking at Trevor Klein, and they're going to look at his height as a disadvantage. But there's going to be one or two of those big-time colleges that don't care about your height, and they're going to take a chance on you. So make sure that you give it a shot. There is one last person that we didn't cover. Thank you so much. I crossed over it on this. Make sure there's not one more, because I want to make sure. This guy is a perfect guy to end on because I love his personality too. Wyatt Parker, come on up here. Wyatt, I didn't label you for the varsity letter, so you have one. You had one for last year, right? Okay. So Wyatt Parker. What? That's why guys, Wyatt Parker is someone that filled in gaps for us all season. He was a big-time starter for us, especially during the first half of the season on the line. He also played some big-time defensive end stuff for us the whole year. He had a motor like nobody else we saw in the Jamboree, we saw in the Trenton game. Nobody could stop this guy. He was all over the field. We didn't quite get him any accolades, but if you're watching this guy next year, you better be fighting for a starting spot, and a starting spot on this team. We get 11 All-Staters, that's you. You understand? So you're the man. I'm sorry I didn't get you there earlier, but give it up. And now it's time to talk about these seniors. If you're a senior, get on up here. Let's come on. Oh, okay. All right. Guys, these are your state champion seniors. There will be no other senior class state champions for 2021 except these guys. Before we even start talking, you give it up for these guys. We already talked a little bit about Connor Musser. Connor Musser is our quarterback. He is the guy that was the glue to this entire team. Without him playing well down the stretch from week 8 all the way to week 15, and really all the weeks before that, besides the one, I don't know, 3 passes in a row, this guy was the man. And without him, we don't go anywhere. Connor Musser will forever have a spot in my heart for this state championship this year. So give it up for Connor Musser. All right, Michael Collard. Michael Collard is a special young man. Michael Collard was the strongest athlete on our football team last year, but Michael Collard, he hit a brick wall, and that brick wall was a knee injury that sidelined him for basically the entire season, and it was a long road to recovery, right? And during that time, he couldn't really eat, or he couldn't really put on weight like he wanted to, he couldn't lift like he wanted to, and his body type changed. He lost a bunch of weight. He became this freak-looking athlete that's super ripped, but he kind of changed who he was as a young man. Well, Michael Collard put in the time, and he became a big-time captain for us. No one epitomizes what we're about as a football team more than Michael Collard, because he doesn't use his words. He uses his actions. He is a man of action, and that's why we're so proud of Michael. Michael, let's go ahead and hand it to him now so I don't forget. Michael is an all-stater, but he's an all-stater of a different type. Not only was he a big-time football player for us, but he's also exactly what we're looking for in the classroom. He had over a 26 ACT, he had a super high GPA. This young man was academic all-state. We only had 2 on our team. We had 11 all-staters. We had 2 academic all-staters, and Michael Collard was one of them. Give him a round of applause. Luke Webb. I love talking about Luke Webb because just like I talked about Michael, Luke Webb did exactly what we asked him to do. Hey, go play DN. All right, got it. All right, go play safety. You got it. All right, go play some other corner. We need you at corner now. You got it. And he would play all of those spots for us and do well the entire time. Except one time in University Academy. That's right, we don't talk about that. But Luke Webb, he did what that speech was when we talked about. Instead of worrying about his own accolades, he could have been a big-time all-state receiver for us. He didn't worry about any of that. He let the ball go to other people. He did whatever he was asked to on defense instead of staying in one spot, and he helped us win the state championship. And without you, we couldn't do it. Luke Webb still got some accolades, though. He was all-conference honorable mention wide receiver, and this dude was also all-district. Go ahead and give it up. Trevor Rush. Is that American Eagle? What is that? Trevor Rush is a stud wrestler who's going to go to state in wrestling. He doesn't know it yet, but he will. But Trevor Rush is a success story. Last year, we had kind of a rough patch because he worked the whole season. He was worthy of being a first-team all-conference guy. The other coaches didn't see it. They said, all-conference honorable mention. We had a rough patch this year as well. He played great, but we had to kind of switch his position mid-season, kind of after that mid-buck game, to put him in a spot where he could be more successful. And man, he got more successful. But those coaches, when they voted because he kind of switched spots, they didn't see it. They gave him all-conference honorable mention. But this young man adapted to his new position, embraced that new position, didn't complain about it, got better every single week, and was blowing paths for our running backs and keeping our quarterbacks safe. We win the state championship by 2 touchdowns. And that's because of you. And here's the cool thing. Because they snubbed him all conference, yet again, made him honorable mention, here are some of his accolades. First team, all district. KKWK all-star team. That's a big accomplishment. Only 4 of our players got that. All news press, second team, but here's the cool one. After all that BS with the conference, first team, all state.
Yeah.
Give it up. Now we're going on to the man, Caleb McCartney. Give it up for him. Caleb McCartney is our workhorse. He was the guy, when it came to linemen, that we could always count on. He would get in people's ear. He would make sure everybody's doing the right thing. He would ask good questions. He would call me out on being a bad line coach so we could get things figured out. He is the man. And not only is he the man, but he also would do it off the field. Every day he would come in from Hilliard's and we would talk about things. He would talk with Coach Musser about certain things, and he's just a down-to-earth, good guy. And I'm so glad that we were able to do this together, and really, you're one of those personalities that made this team a team. And not only that, this guy can play some football. All conference, all district, all news press, and first team, all state. I can't say alpha male, it's misogynistic. Crew Conaway, give it up for him. Crew Conaway. Without you developing this past year, putting the time in the weight room, doing the things that you're supposed to do, we don't go where we go. You were that missing piece last year. We had you at running back. We saw some good things against South Harrison last year, but then he had a broken wrist. He never really got back into the lineup. We didn't see him on the offensive side of the ball. Boy, was that different this year. 1,583 all-purpose yards, nasty. Or was it 1,700, something like that? I don't know. I don't remember. 17 touchdowns. Offensively, this guy is an all-state. But we didn't have to worry about him on offense. We had some other weapons on offense. It was defense where he emerged. As our starting safety, he would tell people where to go, and this is what he does well. He would take his read steps, and he'd be like in his head, it's a run. I'm going to go kill somebody. And he would come downhill and absolutely destroy somebody. And every time, one of our linebackers, both of them interior linebackers, are really good, but every once in a while they miss a tackle. Immediately, tackled by Crew Conaway, they punt the ball anyway. He would make tackles like a linebacker from the safety position. But then when he gets nasty, because he's a triple jumper, he has this crazy vertical. He's 5'10", jumps off 1 foot and can dunk. He'd go up and get all these interceptions in these games, and they'd always be in big moments. It'd be against Thayer, be against Hamilton, be against Marceline in the state championship game on the 1 yard line. Even though you fumbled to get in that position, but it's all right. We sat Crew down. We were about to announce who the captains were, and we saw all the players picked Crew Conaway. And we're like, are they sure? because Crew was kind of one of those dynamic personalities the year before. We weren't sure. But we sat him down in the coach's office, and we said one thing. We said, are you sure you want this? Because we will either win the state championship with you, or we'll crumble with you. It all has to do with your personality, your alpha maleness. Because you're a person that people follow. And you know what? You led them. You led them to the promised land, and you got it done. And because of some crazy freak guy who's getting D1 offers and had 200 tackles, you weren't Defensive Player of the Year in the state of Missouri, but you were second. Here are some of the accolades of Crew Conaway. all conference running back, first team, all conference safety, all district KMZU Dream Team, KKWK All-Star Team, all News Press, first team DB, and first team unanimous All-State DB. Give it up. These are the seniors. Make sure before you leave, look at some of those news articles that you are a part of. Make sure you look at that back, slideshow. Make sure you guys, those aren't your actual helmets. I had to see them to be refurbished, but put your helmet on one last time. You guys earned this moment. This is about you. Give these seniors one last round of applause. Bring those over. We have about 5 or 10 minutes left. Don't be getting upset on me because we went long. We have 52 guys. We had to cover them all. So. Trevor, instead of making you come back up, I just want everybody to hear this from me. The young man who should have been the offensive player of the year in the state of Missouri, the guy with all those accolades that does the right thing. He also does the right thing in the classroom. Academic, All-State. All right, we got a couple more awards. These are for you younger guys. I told you that you are super important, and that goes for this as well. Offensive Scout Team MVP. Scout is the most important thing on that field, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams, and we want to make sure that you guys who are the workhorses get recognized. Our Offensive Scout Team MVP this year is Corbin Allen. Corbin was not a starter the whole season, so I felt like you earned that. So good job, good job. We have a special team scout MVP. This goes to a guy who we've talked about him already. He was always doing the right thing. He was always putting his nose in the right spot, and we feel like he really deserved this for all the time he put in. Scout Team Most Valuable Player, Samuel Brushwood. Just FYI, if you got any accolade today, just go straight to the Dollar Tree while it's still $1 and not $1.25 and get you some nice frames, put those on and hang them up on your wall in your room. All right. Defensive Scout MVP. These are our last awards until our final Big Four awards. Defensive Scout Team MVP. We have 2 of them because both of these guys put in a lot of time giving our offense a good scout so that we could be successful. Defensive Scout Team MVPs are Kyler Paxton and Colson Orstad. Right. I'd like to stop talking for a moment. So, no, I can't. I got to do 2 of these awards because Coach Musser is too bashful. Let's start with this one. The Don't Talk About It, Be About It award. Who on this team uses their actions more than their words? Speaks with their actions, does the right thing at all times, is an upright young man, and put in more time than anybody else. I don't think I have to do much explaining. I think everybody knows who deserves this award. Come up and get it. Michael Collins. I was going to make that the top award last year, and it really is a top award in a normal year. But we have some special coaches in this football program, in the past and present. And there's one that's present that has an award named after him, and he's still on the staff. It's crazy. Coach Buster, get on up here, buddy. I'm not going to make you speak. I'm going to let him give out the award. This award is to someone that shows leadership. Someone who usually is a captain. Not always. Sometimes a guy who is not a captain ends up becoming one of your best leaders. Someone who is hardworking, who has put the time in, not only on the field, but off the field. And somebody who is upright. And Coach Musser knows that this person is upright because it's his grandson. Luke Webb, come on up. We are down to 2 final awards. These are the big awards for tonight because they are 2 coaches that have passed away in the past year. I'm going to turn the mic over now to Coach Rapp, the grandson of former coach Virgil Freeman.
Okay, so this is the second year I've got to do this. It's easily my favorite thing I get to do each year. I have people that help me pick the person for this award, just so people don't think I'm just giving it to my favorite or whatever. So I have people that help me do this. The Virgil Freeman Award is named after my grandpa. He coached here for 20 years. Some of the characteristics that we look for in the guy that earns this award are aggressive, hardworking, someone who loves football. When Grandpa passed away in December, I reached out to a lot of people who played for him, and I asked just for them to share stories about my grandpa to me, because I really never got to see him as coach. Like, he was grandpa to me, he was never coaching me, so I asked people what was, some of your stories about grandpa. And the one thing that people kept telling me was that your grandpa never gave up on me. He never gave up on me when he could have. It got hard, I was too much, whatever. He never gave up on me throughout my 4 years. I promised that I could ask any one of these coaches that are sitting up here right now, that this person who's named on this award, that they definitely wanted to give up on. I can promise you, whether it was for things he did off the field, things he did on the field, whatever. I promise that we all at some point were just like, maybe it'd be easier if he was off the team. But we all stuck it out. We all pushed him to be better. And he took that coaching all year long. And the second annual Virgil Freeman Award goes to Mr. Crew Conway.
So I have the pleasure of giving out Coach Bryan's award. I know Coach Bryan has impacted a lot of the people here. The seniors, you guys had the pleasure of 2 years under Coach Bryan. Coach Bryan meant a lot to me. He he would always, you know, he kind of took a risk with me, bringing me up to the varsity staff when he had other options. You know, my dad always asked him to take care of me, and he did. So that always meant a lot to me. You know, I text Coach Brian right before, you know, when he's still alive, telling him that we're going to do this award. And I asked, you know, kind of the same thing that Coach Rapp said about his grandpa. Hey, what are some things that you look for in a football player? Okay, and the words he sent back: personal responsibility, honesty, the ability to handle adversity, and a positive leader. You know, so I wish I could give this to the entire senior class because they meant a lot to him. I know he means a lot to them. But when I kind of thought about it, you know, talked to my wife, you know, she spent a lot of time with Coach Brian, and we decided that the person that emulates that the most is Connor Musser.
Yes, sir.
Okay, couple things. Any guy who did not get a varsity letter but deserves a pin, come see me after. I'll give you a pin. All my seniors. Only 42 young men have signed it, but you get a gold ball with all the signatures of your team. You do what you want with that. I just thought you deserve that and should have it. There's also one more deflated ball, but I'm sure he won't mind, for the great Ron Musser as well. I felt like he deserved one also. But this concludes our evening. I'm sorry we went over a little bit. Just help them clean up just a little bit, and let's go on with the night. Thank you so much for coming.